welcome to Hugh's Nursery. Today we're going to be looking at loganberries and how to train them after they've fruited. So basically last year I trained all the stems this way, and the new stems, which you can tell from the pink growth, we'll do a close-up later, as opposed to the brown growth, these are the new stems that need tying in for this year. So the first job is to cut out all the old stems, and then because we haven't been on top of these totally, we're going to bring this tangle of stems and bring them over here. The ideal way of doing it is during the summer. The 1 year you have the old stems pointing this way and you tie the new stems into the other side, and then you're not fighting with each other. Here we've actually got a bit of a tangle, and we'll show you how we deal with that. So the first step in the process is to cut through all the ties that we put on last year, so that they actually come away from the trellis. And then we'll go down with the loppers or secateurs and cut those down right back to the stem, and then we've got the room to pull the new ones over. So now's a good time to pull out what I think is dead and see what's left, to make sure I don't take out any of the new growth. You can tell if you follow the stem along, you can see, yeah, it's fruited this year. So that's the easiest way to tell. And next door you've got lovely lush growth. So we're keeping those and getting rid of these ones that are looking a bit tired. The other thing is, not so much with loganberry because it's incredibly vigorous, but with some of the other berries like silverberry and sometimes with blackberries, if you haven't got a lot of new growth this year, you can retain some of the old best stems. If you cut out the sort of the bad growth, the sort of the stuff that's dying off, it'll still produce fruit, but it won't be as productive as a new stem. But it is an option if you're struggling, especially in the early years. So I've made some inroads here, cleared out last year's growth, and then what I have to do is really carefully I get this year's stems and move them over onto this side, and then that's why I've got all these, don't know if you can see, to tie them up with. But they're very delicate, so you need to support them and bring them over carefully. It's a bit like a giant jigsaw puzzle that you don't want to be dragging pieces over and under each other because they could break. So you're sort of trying to disentangle them and not bend them, because once it's snapped and you can't put it back together again. Okay, so we've removed all last year's growth. We're ready to start tying these up. You'll notice that I'm wearing gloves, because these are obviously the thorned version of loganberry. There is a thornless version, and we started off with one of those, and then the tip rooted, and then for some reason it came out thorny. But the thing is, the thorny one is much more vigorous in our garden anyway. So although the thornless one's much easier to deal with and they're very friendly, we don't get nearly as much fruit. So we just sort of feel it's worth the extra effort to deal with the really spiny one for that reason. Okay, what we're going to start doing now is tying these up, and basically you want to start with the ones that are closest to the ground and lowest down to create a sort of the side of a fan shape. So the ones that are already leaning nicely, I want to put those in first, and then as you go up, the ones that are a bit higher will form the higher bit. So like this one here will be right up the top. So to start doing this, I need my handy assistant to come and help hold this, because tying string with these gloves on isn't the easiest thing to do. Hold that, handy assistant.
Deja vu.
Some of you might recognise him for some other videos, one or two that he's done in the past.
Yeah, that's what I usually say about you.
Oh yeah. So got all my little bits. So handy assistant, please can you train that along? Let me get my glove.
Hello?
So we've got two bits on here, so if you support that one, and
There you go.
okay, so the first one we'll tie just here. Again, having a handy assistant is really useful. I try to do it on my own sometimes and end up quite scratched. So just a simple double knot will work. And just drop that one slightly. Also, if you find the tips are too long like this, the answer is just snip it back to a bud. It's not gonna harm anything because it's so long anyway. So by doing it like this, basically, it means that we've got plenty of space for the fruits to develop. Okay, so now you can see we have created order out of chaos. So normally we would tie them in nicely where this space is going to grow there, so we're going to clear that up next. So in just over half an hour we've gone from a chaotic mess of tangle of stems to a nice fan. There's plenty of space for fruit develop next year, plenty of air movement and stuff. Yeah, and if you're interested in learning how to propagate loganberries and other types of berries, click on the video that you can see now that Hugh also did. Well, he didn't do this one, but I sort of did it. Thanks for watching. This is Hugh's Nursery. Until next time, take care.